Is it the right time to buy a house? Are you going to be buying a house soon? Is it something you need to do right away? Today, I've been looking at a few articles to find out what is going on in this market. Is now a good time to buy a house? This is from MoneyWeek. I'm going to look at a couple of articles. This is from MoneyHelper. Is now a good time to buy a house? This seems to be the main question that everybody's got on their mind. Is now a good time to buy a house, or should I wait? So we're going to summarize these articles that I've seen here. We're going to find out if you should be thinking about buying a house now. When is the right time to buy a house? We're in 2024 right now, back end of 2024, September. Actually, it's 30th September, so happy October tomorrow if you're watching this. Now, in this episode, I'm going to break down what I think around this criteria, because it seems like current market conditions are very interesting, to say the least. So stay tuned. My name is Zulf. Thanks for joining me on the Zulf Talks podcast, where we talk about working for yourself. But as part of my working for myself journey, I am going to be going and buying a house very soon. I need to sell my house and buy another house. So we have got this season 15 dedicated to this process. We're going to see what happens, how it perspires. I'll give you all the inside information. Apparently, estate agents are really tough, so we'll see how well those do. So first up, is now a good time to buy a house? So this article here is basically a MoneyWeek article giving us an overview. The main thing that they basically are saying is current market conditions. So the article notes the rising interest rates and inflation are putting pressure on the housing market. We kind of knew that. But in some locations, it's still a good time for buying. The main thing seems to be supply and demand. So it's from looking at what they're basically, I read through here, and there's little sections there by Ruth. She was mentioning about how you'd look at it. So investment perspective, we're not investing, are we? We want to buy it for a living home house. That's the main thing we want to do. We're not looking to buy and sell. There's a lack of supply in certain areas, which could sustain price despite broader economic concerns. Okay, so a quote from this article is like, with mortgage rates climbing, potential buyers may find themselves squeezed out of the market, but it's essential to remember that property is typically a long-term investment. So if you're buying, remember you're buying for a long period of time. So that was like a quick look at this example from this article, but it doesn't really give us a definitive answer. I don't think anybody can say, yeah, it's the right time to buy, or no, hold off. You never know what's going on in the market. If you're buying a house to live in and you found your perfect house and you're able to buy, you've got the funds, you can get all of those things. Sometimes it's worth thinking, personally, is it going to be benefiting your life? Are you going to have a happy time? Or do you want to spend a couple of months of researching, and then finding out it's never really a right time to buy? You buy when you are capable of buying, it seems like. So, okay, that was the MoneyWeek article. But I also saw one on MoneyHelper, which is a little bit interesting because the way they break it down is a bit different. So these are like the common blogs that people would read. So mortgage rates have increased and also fallen. So it's like they're going up and they're going down. So the cost of living crisis impacts on buyer confidence, apparently. So they're basically putting an emphasis on the key concern being affordability and prospective buyers not being able to meet affordability. So recent news has been mortgage rates are falling. House prices have dipped a little bit. I was on Zoopla earlier this week and I saw quite a few houses saying the prices have been, well, the houses I've got in my favourites list, £10,000 being knocked off. Like 10,000 here, 10,000 there. However, this is also a little bit misleading because if a house is on for £275,000 and then you see a fall of £10,000, that means they've priced it a little bit high. They've not had much interest and now they're trying to lower the price to get more interest. Basically, think about it. If the house has been listed at 275, they had a lot of interest, a lot of offers. Someone accepted the offer and it was going through to completion or mortgage principal, depending on who the buyer is doing, cash or mortgage. It's like, why would they want to reduce it? It means they've not had as much interest as they want to do. So that leads to a common problem where people list the houses, estate agents would list the houses at a fair market value to get a lot of interest, and then slowly prices are worked out between the different various bidders, if that makes sense. So it's like, it's all a bit I understand they want to get the best price for the house, but if it's a home and you're buying it, think about it. So mortgage rates are normally based around the Bank of England base rate, and for £200,000 mortgage, you'll typically be paying £400 more each month compared to 2021. We're in 2024 now. I know people like to do this, comparing rates to like what they were, but when I bought my house, if you saw the interest rates then, you'd be like, what? So don't look in the past. What are we doing right now? It helps, but what are we doing now? Can we afford it? Will it make our life better? Make the decision. So renting versus buying is like discussed in this topic as well for the MoneyHelper article, which is good because that's like a common consideration. So we're going to be looking at how easy is it to think about that, because that's going to be the next topic in season episode 3. This is a podcast, zulftalks.com. You can check out all episodes and show notes for it as well. So I basically go through and speak about topics that are interesting to me. And you can basically go to zulftalks.com, scroll down. You can listen to an Apple podcast everywhere you want. I'm going to be going through a few more articles today and giving you an overview. And of course, the podcast is designed for working for yourself, but I'm in the journey of working for myself, set up the business, did all that stuff. And now I need to be buying a house or selling my house and buying a house. So I'm hoping you join me on this journey and we find it interesting how it happens, what I end up buying, and all the estate agents I have to speak to get a good deal. So should you buy now or stay put? This is like the main. Whether it's a good idea to buy now really depends on your personal circumstances. No one can really give you an answer. The more I've done research about this, I've found it easier to say, if you're in the right place, you've got secured funds, you've seen a house, you can afford the house, and you want to stay there long term. Personally, I'd be like, would it make you happier buying the house? Do it. No advice, obviously. I'm not a financial advisor. Check your own circumstances. Okay. If you're confident you are able to keep up the mortgage repayments, even if interest rates were to rise, that's something I didn't mention, did I? So the mortgage repayments, can you comfortably make a payment and you've got enough expenditure and income to manage that? But also think, within a 6 month, a year, 2 years, if things really change dramatically, how much free money have you got that you can call on? So maybe don't go to your extreme highest amount. Maybe keep a little bit back as a fallback plan, if that works, like 10 or 15 grand as an extra payment buffer, like if you keep that in a savings account. And if interest rates rise and your £1,200 mortgage goes up to £1,400, £1,500, you've got a couple of £100 there to play with for each of those months, if that makes sense. But it's one of those things. I can't look into my mystical bottle of water, even if it's a bowl, it'd be better, but tell me the future. When should I buy? Okay, so how to get the cheapest mortgage, I will also cover that in a future episode, because there are such things as mortgage advisors, like people who can find you better deals than what NatWest or Halifax can offer you. They look like a wider market. That's what I always do. My past 2-3 purchases, houses, that's what I've done. Okay. Now, this article is telling us the discussion includes comparing benefits of buying versus renting with the focus on long-term stability provided by home ownership. So remember, if you're buying, the gist of it is it's going to be yours at the end of that term. If you're renting, you're putting that money into a place where you're not really getting anything in return other than your month's rent that you're renting the property, you're living there temporary. Some people want that flexibility to move around. Yeah, so carefully assess your finances and consider whether you can afford the ongoing costs of ownership. You got bills and stuff which you'd pay anyway, but the daily extra stuff, the boiler's gone down. My boiler's gone down once in my 15 years of home ownership, and that was because I bought the more expensive variant originally, which seemed to have lasted longer. I don't know if I just got lucky with it or what, but fingers crossed, winter's coming. Don't say my boiler's gonna go. There's another article here I've looked at. Is now a good time to buy? And this is the times.com. So, house prices rose 2.1% points in the year to July. So currently you're looking at home in the UK just over £266,000. Mixed sentiment amongst buyers, because with many feelings uncertain due to rising living costs and interest rates, the mortgage repayment is not the only thing rising, everything else is rising at the same time. So, take it with a pinch of salt. Potential buyers should think about long-term property market over fluctuations over the look at a year or 2 years as opposed to like a monthly look, because if it works out over a year or 2 years. Something that considered a quote from this one is like, while the current market might seem daunting, history shows that real estate tends to rise in value over the long term. So you're buying a house that's more expensive. If you keep it for long enough, will you recoup some of that money back? Will you get a higher price if you ever sell and buy another house? That's something to think about. So I think the UK current housing market presents many challenges, to say the least. Rising interest rates and inflation. A lot of experts, like articles that are written by people that are in this field, they're looking at essential buyers and evaluate financial readiness, but it seems like no matter how good you are, we can't predict the future. So what is the answer to this question? The answer to this question is, to make it simple, is it the right time to buy a house? No one can say yes or no. What I can say is, let's look at my situation. If I sell my house, I get some money after a long process of getting deals accepted, finding the right buyer, finding the right estate agent to market my house at the right price, not undervaluing it, not overvaluing it. There's a lot of factors in this journey, but let's keep it simple. I've got the money here, and then I'm buying another house. Is that house really expensive? Do I need to take out a little mortgage on top of what I've saved from other house? Do I have any savings I can call on? If I buy that house, how long can I keep the house going with on my current circumstances? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Okay. If you're planning to buy the house for 10 years, can you preempt something you can put in place that allows you to comfortably maintain that balance? You can maybe reduce something else in your life that is not as important. How important is it to buy a house? Can you stay where you are happily? Save you lots of hassle. That's like a consideration. But if you're in the position where you want to upscale, you want to get out of a house you're in, and you're looking to buy, if you can see the value of it, the journey, if you're going to be happier where you move to eventually, and it costs you a little bit more, providing you've got that in your finances, basically saying, have you got the money? Can you pay your monthly repayments easily? If things were to increase, have you got a backup plan? Keep a little bit of savings behind. Maybe don't buy, if you got £300,000 as your budget, don't actually buy a £300,000 house. Look a little bit further afield and see if you can save up 20, 15, £30,000. If you can, keep that as your buffer zone. That way, it won't be as bad if things don't work out. And if things get worse, you've got some money. If things get better, you can pay it off quicker. So it's very interesting, but I think this is going to be more of me like waffling about what I think as opposed to what you want to hear. But I'm hoping what I'm telling you or what I'm sharing with you gives you the thought process of just consider it. Go in with your eyes wide open. It's not as easy as it's made out to be. It's not as difficult as it's made out to be. If you do all the research, and hopefully during this season 15 of my podcast, I'm hoping to cover everything you need to consider. If you've thought about all these things, you're going to go into the process with your eyes wide open. We'll talk about some case scenarios where things have taken really long, or what could be the worst case. Because if we prepare them for the worst case, anything that works out better than that, we're going to be laughing because we won't have to wait as long, or it won't take as much money, for example. So stay tuned for the next episode, and we will share more about buying a house. What are we doing next time? I think we'll do some 10 points of UK house prices, like 10 reasons UK house prices could collapse. I think that'll be a good one. So I'll give you 10 things that things are going bad. And then I'll give you 10 things that it might be going up. So you can get a justified both sides view of good and bad. So the next episode, you're going to be hearing that. Stay tuned, and I'll see you on that. It would be really good if you can leave a review wherever you're listening to this. The show resources are available at zulftalks.com. You can also sign up to the mailing list there, which will allow you to get information to help you on your journey working for yourself.